Hey guys, Bridget here. In this video, we're going to talk about the design systems and what are the essential elements that you need to include in each and every design systems and when it makes sense to have other elements which we're going to discuss about, but those are going to occur only in certain specific scenarios. So let's get started, and we're going to use Ant Design System, the free version which you can find in the Figma community so that you can browse along. And essentially, as you can see over here, we have the very top section, which is the style guide. Now, the style guide is comprised of typography, colors, size, space, and radius, and effects. Now, I would say that the very bare minimum of each and every single design system is going to be having a typography section and a colors section. And that is essentially going to cover a lot of the elements and components which you're going to have in any design project, because typography is a given and colors are also going to be something that you're going to use. So it makes sense to have at least the very bare bones of these elements set up. And the way that you structure it is really up to you, but if, for example, you're working on a website project, you definitely want to include all of the headings from 1 to 6 so that that covers each and every one of those scenarios, plus all of the body text elements which you're going to have. Probably also want to add links and things that are going just to be recurring elements, maybe enriched snippets such as emphasis sections, those things are going to be in pretty much every project. And then you can actually go on and expand upon that base and create all of the typography which you need. So that is going to be the very first element which you need on as a bare minimum. And then the colors. Now, colors, as you can see over here, and as you're going to see in many design systems, especially for enterprise level companies, there's going to be a lot of colors, and it can be quite overwhelming, but it doesn't need to be like that at the start. You can essentially start with maybe a handful of colors, and it can even be just primary, secondary, maybe tertiary, and then some of the colors which are most common on the apps, such as positive states, which usually is green, or alert states or error messages, which are probably going to be in yellow or red tints. So it can really be the bare minimum. And what you want to do is to essentially keep it simple at first and then expand upon it. So a design system is essentially a living and breathing document. So you don't need to set everything up perfectly at the start. In fact, it never will if you actually approach it the correct way. A design system is essentially going to be a document that's going to grow with the company. So it's a never evolving company. It's not a one-off investment that you make and it's simply going to be set. Of course, maybe the foundations, yes, but it's going to grow with time. And then what you want to do is after that, you see things like size, space, radius. Those are all great, but say that you're working on with a small startup, you probably won't go into that level of detail right away, because in some instances it's not worth the ROI, because you always have to keep in mind this: the more complex the design system is, the more time and energy it's going to require for the designers to adhere to that design system and also nurture it. So it's really important to analyze where you are with your company and when it makes sense to invest more or less into a more lean or complex design system. And if you want more information about that, you can chat with me or hop on a call, and we can see if I can help you with that. And then after that, you essentially want to create a design system, a components library, which at the very start is going to keep just the most important components. So, for example, buttons and footer elements, header elements, any repeating component that you're going to find often in an interface. And ideally also with the different states, so maybe the hover state, the active state, disabled state, those are going to be quite useful and are going to come by default. And then you can simply add upon these components and create a library with time, which is going to grow with the company essentially and the project. So the more projects you do, you're eventually going to get to a point where you're going to have more complexity. But what I'm saying is that a design system doesn't need to start in a very complex way. I see startups, downloading these very premium design systems, which are extremely extensive. And a lot of the times, that could be good if you're simply utilizing that design system with those exact components one-on-one, so you're not changing anything. But if you're creating something truly custom and tailor-made, it's much better to start small and then expand with time, because otherwise you're going to have to redo a lot of work, and it's going to be a nightmare for designers, and it's going to take more time and energy on your behalf on managing this as well. So hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions related to Figma or design systems, feel free to leave me a message. And on my YouTube channel, I have over 700, maybe 800 videos at this point. So you want to learn more about design, check it out.